So Nintendo unveiled their Virtual Boy expansion coming to the Switch in February 2026, and I can't believe I'm saying this, nobody should buy this! And I'm not just talking about your everyday consumer. No, I'm talking about you Nintendo Shill channels and adjacent content creators. But before we get into this, leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 3K by the end of the month. I wasn't surprised by the lack of backbone displayed by gamers when they discovered Nintendo's price hikes, complained about them for months, then immediately bought the system as soon as the console launched. In fact, I'm almost certain that most people pre-ordered it. And I get it. New console, new games, new expectations. And despite being as jaded as I was about the console, correctly predicting that Nintendo wasn't going to address any of the flaws with the Switch 1, turning away legions of current customers with their business practices, I'll admit that I was still just as curious as most of you. And let's make another thing clear. I take no pleasure in the console being a disappointment to so many people. The world is a mess, people are stressed, overworked, and underpaid, so at the very least, maybe if you invest in a game as a form of escapism, that can give you the slightest boost to stop you from totally giving up. But Nintendo can't even let people have that. They're not only charging above the established premium price of $60, but even at the inflated price, they're not even delivering good games, never mind masterpieces. And in doing so, they're fostering perhaps one of the grossest communities I've seen in the gaming space. Not just because of what's being said, because the utter filth coming from some commenters is truly repulsive, but also because of how widespread and borderline normalized this behavior has become. Seriously, the amount of goalpost moving, toxic positivity, and poor shaming that I'm seeing from so-called fans is approaching a truly disgusting level of regularity, which in case you didn't know, does nothing but give the very creators you're speaking out against more exposure. It also continues to prove that there's more entertainment value in bothering people online than actually playing modern Nintendo games. But speaking of exposure, the Virtual Boy. I better not see a single one of you guys buying this thing, and that includes you Nintendo fan channels. I could look past the Switch 2 purchase, and thankfully the buyer's remorse has started to sink in for some of you, but Nintendo is selling McDonald's toys for $100 and they're selling the Happy Meal box for $24. I don't want to hear the excuse of, I'm buying this so you don't have to, and I definitely don't want to hear that it's a business expense. I don't care. Nintendo didn't deserve your money for the Switch 2, and they definitely don't deserve your money for the Virtual Boy. Even if Nintendo tries to send you one for free, you'd better decline the offer due to quote-unquote current market conditions. Buying this thing isn't cute, it isn't quirky, it's not even novel. They just want your money in exchange for free exposure. Unless they're giving you an absolutely absurd amount of money to promote the product, the amount of profit they'll make if even one person buys the Virtual Boy headset as a result of seeing one of your videos is an absolute crime. You're not going to enjoy playing the games, you're gonna get a headache, you can't sue them for it because of forced arbitration, editing the video will be a waste of time and your viewers won't even care. And this headset, or to be more accurate, binoculars, cost $1 to manufacture at most. Giving Nintendo $100 for this thing is the equivalent of tipping them $100, and as a token of their appreciation, they'll release paid DLC for Mario Kart World. And if you're a fan of one of these creators, I'm not advocating for you to harass them over it, not even in the slightest. But if you could kindly inform them in the nicest way possible not to buy it, either via poll or a simple comment, you'd be doing the entire gaming community a massive favor. How would that be doing the community a favor, you ask? Despite the commonly held opinion in Nintendo fan circles, Switch 2 sales are on the decline. People aren't happy with Nintendo's prices, and I know you guys are tired of hearing about prices, but it's Nintendo's fault for raising them in the first place, effectively enabling other companies to do the same. And while you could argue that businesses exist to make money, the problem is that Nintendo isn't just making money anymore. There's such a thing as a company making too much money, and Nintendo's reached that point. I'm all in favor of people finding enjoyment in things I don't like, as long as it's not harmful to anybody else. So as openly critical as I've been about the Switch 2, I'm glad that you're able to find some enjoyment out of it. That being said, once a company starts openly trying to change the law to restrict other developers from adding commonly used mechanics to their games, that's where I take issue. This company that literally plagiarized fan art for their digital casino marketed towards children is trying to stop other developers from adding the mechanic of summoning characters to fight in their own games. I don't like talking politics, and I'm not going to talk about politics, but Nintendo's bringing them into the medium that we go to in order to avoid politics. Nintendo doesn't need any more money for putting forth literally zero effort, trying to sell you a non-functional replica of a failed console, day one DLC, half-baked games. Now granted, we don't know where all of Nintendo's money is going, but we do know for a fact that a disproportionately high amount of it is going towards actively harming other developers, and I'm personally disgusted by the people who continue to patronize this company with full knowledge of the ongoing lawsuit, and especially those who defend it. It's already hard enough being a small game developer, and thankfully, it's easier than ever to access the means to develop games. And in 2025 alone, we've seen more and more passionate teams directly competing with large publishers. So the last thing a small development team needs is for a corporation that they don't even work for to start sticking their greasy little tendrils into places they don't belong and essentially control what other developers are even allowed to create. One of the biggest appeals about going indie is that creative minds aren't subject to corporate meddling, but Nintendo is trying to introduce systemic meddling to indie development with these ridiculous patents. You might think that this is just about Power World or some fictitious slippery slope argument, but as we've seen with the Switch 2, we thought that it was just going to be $80 games. Oh wait, game key cards. Oh wait, no holophonic joysticks. Oh wait, Mario Kart World is empty. Oh wait, Donkey Kong Bonanza is $70 and has already received $20 DLC, making the full package $90, and now Pokemon ZA is getting day one DLC. If you give a corporation an inch, they'll take a nation. The Power World lawsuit isn't a threat, nor is it just a promise. It's a reminder that Nintendo will use every cent you give them to not only deceive the customer, but also cause genuine harm to their own peers in the industry. I know this video is a lot more angry than usual, but Nintendo has gotten completely out of control, and not enough people understand that their endless praise, uncritical support, and the all too common self-aware whining while buying their products anyway has gotten us to the point where it's starting to impact the way games are even allowed to be developed. And if this continues, then it will cause irreparable damage to the industry. I'm sure that being a Nintendo creator is difficult right now because the company you built your entire brand around is pulling all kinds of stunts that you feel obligated to agree with. But I see you all on Twitter. You all know each other. You can privately discuss certain topics that you won't cover, and if you do that, then Nintendo will have to show some humility in order to get their borderline free marketing back. Sometimes the best response is silence, and that silence can speak louder than your unwavering support. And whether you like it or not, you guys are an extension of Nintendo's marketing, so the ball is in your court as to whether you'll continue promoting this company to millions of people at the expense of game developers themselves. I understand that covering Nintendo news is your job, but there's ways to engage your audience with Nintendo-related videos besides just promoting their products to people. Adjacent topics like what you want to see in the next 3D Mario game, Zelda game, potential crossovers, highlighting things you like from other games that you want Nintendo to add to their games, characters you'd like to see return, new spin-off series, controller comparisons and reviews, and much, much more. You know news channels cover more than just current events, right? There are ways to keep your audience engaged without essentially being free marketing for a company. I don't like calling out other creators on the platform because at this point what they were doing was none of my business, but the company they're supporting has gotten so powerful that now it is my business and I expect better. But at the very least, address the pure malice that your community is spreading, which is to an extent that Calamity Ganon wasn't even capable of. We've got some repeat offenders who just go from video to video, polluting people's comment sections with the most consistent stream of unhinged remarks I've ever seen on the internet. An internet which, by the way, contains the Sonic the Hedgehog fandom. And while you guys may think that you're anonymous, we all know who you are and you look insane. But anyways, I just had to get that off my chest because the situation's gotten so unbelievably out of control that we're now at the point where purchasing a fake Virtual Boy is socially acceptable. But on that note, like, subscribe, and share this video to spread the word, and hopefully more people will finally come to their senses. Alright, take care.